Hi readers, Chris here. Today I'm doing my first book tag of 2022, and that's going to be the 1001 Books tag. There are so many tag videos that I haven't done yet. I am super behind on them, both ones that I've seen that I thought looked cool, things that people have tagged me in, like David tagged me in the Krampus tag. I definitely want to get to that some point this year. Even if it's not around Christmas time, I'm going to do it anyway. So 1001 Books tag. I don't think I was actually tagged to do this one. I just wanted to do it. I saw it most recently on Pax Panic's channel, so she's kind of the one that inspired me, so I will link her down below. And then this tag was originally created by Miss Reads a Lot. I will tag her channel down below as well. So let's jump in with question number 1. 1001 book lists. Do you follow any book lists? No, I don't. Easy one. Moving on. I know that question refers to like Goodreads or bestseller lists. Like there could be any sort of list. The only lists that I really do are the ones that I make myself. For example, I have my Stephen King list, which is a list that I literally went on Wikipedia, pulled up his bibliography, and started writing them down by publication date. So the only lists I follow are the lists that I do myself. Question number 2 is 1001 books. How many books do you physically own? I have no idea. Let me go see if I can count really quick. Let's start with this bookshelf here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 100, 102, 200, 202. I'm just kidding. I'm not really going to count all of these books. I just wanted to show off a little bit or some of my bookshelves here. Hopefully that'll give you a better idea of how many books I have in my house. And these bookshelves are just the ones that are actually in my family/living room. They don't even include books that are in other places in the house, books that are packed up in boxes, books that are shoved under my bed. I mean, what can I say? I like books. I have a lot of them. I've been trying to unhaul them throughout the year, as you know, but there's still a lot. But what are you going to do? So yes, I have a lot of books. All of those bookshelves, whatever books that you saw, there is at least one, if not multiple, layers behind them. And those are just the bookshelves in like my family room. I've got some in my bedroom, some in my stepdaughter's room. There's books everywhere. I've got books in boxes. I probably don't think it's 1001, but it's definitely, I would say easily a couple hundred. Question number 3 is 1001 pages. What is the longest book you've ever read? I believe that the 2 longest books I've ever read are actually both Stephen King books. The longest book I believe I've ever read, I actually just finished last year. No surprise, and that's going to be It by Stephen King. This version of the book is actually 1,153 pages. That's why it took me a couple months to read it. And then the other book I have by him that's also ginormous is The Stand. And that one, or this copy, this unabridged copy, is 1,152. So these books are literally within a page of each other, which is really, really funny. But when it comes to whether you should actually read these books or not, like, is it worth it? For me, I'm a big Stephen King fan, so of course it was worth it. If you're not a big Stephen King fan, if you're not into horror, like, at all, it's not your jam, no, there's no reason that you should read a book that's this long. But if you do at all, or if you like that kind of thing, I definitely think they're worth it. If I had to pick one over the other, ooh, that's really hard. I guess I'd have to pick It, and it may just be recency bias, but I feel like this book is a masterpiece, and I do feel like this one drags in places. Yeah, so I'm going to say if you need to pick one of these, go with It. Question number 4 is 1001 buckets. Do you have a non-bookish bucket list? I don't have like an actual quote unquote bucket list, but there are definitely things that I would like to do, and most of them involve travel. So even though it said non-bookish bucket list, I'm going to show this book here because this book is full of hotels all around the world. So all around the world. And my favorite one in here, the one that I want to go to more than anywhere else in the entire world, is going to be the Mystique, which is in Santorini, Greece. If you're not familiar with Greece at all, Santorini is like a little island off the coast of Greece. So you've got like your white stone and your white sand beaches and all that kind of stuff. Mediterranean Sea. That's where I want to go before I die. So hopefully one day I'll be making a booktube video from Santorini. Question number 5 is 1001 numbers. Do you have a favorite number, and is there a story behind it? Yes, actually, I do have a favorite number. I kind of have two, but if I had to pick one, my favorite number is going to be 21. Why 21? Well, part of it has to do with where I lived, where I grew up. My address for my childhood home was number 21 on our street. So I always reference that number a lot. And then back when I was in high school, I really don't remember the specifics, but I had a friend and we had some sort of an inside joke that somehow revolved around the number 21. So it just kind of became like my number for everything, for like the whole rest of my life. Anytime I needed like a number for something, I always used number 21. My other favorite is 37, but 21 is my favorite number. It has to do with a couple things that it's been my favorite number for so long, I don't even remember why. So that's my answer for that one. Question number 6 is an easy one. 1001 authors. Who's your favorite author or genre? And of course, as soon as I hear a question like this, my mind just starts like creating a list in my head of like 500 different things. I tried to reel it back a little bit. So my favorite genre obviously is fantasy. And because it's favorite authors, not favorite books, here's a few that I picked out. In no particular order, first up is going to be Jacqueline Carey. She wrote the Kushiel's Dart series, but she's written a ton of other stuff. And I believe that other than maybe like some short story collections, I have most of the books that she's ever written. Most of what she writes is fantasy, which I absolutely love, and most of it's adult fantasy. Not only is it adult fantasy, but she has a way of writing that takes certain adult topics, whether it's sex or something, and makes it like beautiful. Like, this book is super steamy, it's super hot, but it's also a work of art. Like, sometimes those type of things can be vulgar, make you feel uncomfortable. This is a work of art. It's a work of art. It's beautiful. And like the way that people treat sensuality in this culture that she's created here, it's healing, it's beautiful, it's something that's respected and like adored. It's just awesome. And then kind of on the other spectrum, this is one of her, it's not that recent because I think it came out in like 2010, but recent for her, this Agent of Hell series is basically about a young girl who is like a kind of detective, and she lives in a town where there's a town of humans, but then there's also like the quote-unquote undertown that's all the magical creatures, and she's like kind of in charge of like keeping the peace between the two realms. And this one is like way more of like, it's not YA, but it kind of leans that way, where it's silly and it's funny and it's hysterical. I love everything she's ever written. Jacqueline Carey, one of my favorite authors. Another one of my favorite authors, another fantasy author, is going to be Terry Goodkind. He wrote the Sword of Truth series, but he's also written a couple of other things too. But again, his Sword of Truth series, the main series plus like all the auxiliary things. There's like over 20 books in that series. And not only have I read all of those and own them, but I also have some of his, you know, more non-fantasy related stuff. Although technically this one is tangentially related to this series, but you know what I mean. But for the most part, it's more of a quote-unquote normal fiction rather than fantasy world. But yes, I love Terry Goodkind. Sadly, he did pass away last year. I hope that there's like unpublished works out there that might come out someday. That is my hope. If I see anything, definitely will be the first in line to buy it. Another author who is no longer with us, gone too soon, of course, is going to be Robert Jordan, who wrote the Wheel of Time series. I've read the Wheel of Time series, I think 3 times now in my life, but it has been a while since my last reread, so I really do want to reread this series again, even though it's so many books. Don't think it's going to be this year, maybe next year, but sometime within the next 5 years, I do want to revisit this because it's a classic, and I love it. Last up is going to be another YA fantasy author, and that's going to be Libba Bray. Again, other than her short story collections, I have every single book that Libba Bray has ever written. She's written series, she's written YA fantasy series, she has a bunch of standalones. They're all amazing. This is the book that really made me fall in love with her, A Great and Terrible Beauty. This is a trilogy about young girls in a boarding school that discover like a mysterious secret society. Things happen. It's amazing. And then most recently, her Diviner series takes place in like 1920s New York. We have young kids that have powers with all the things that happening in society at the time. It's just amazing. It's amazing. Her writing is amazing. Her characters are amazing. Her books are amazing. I know she's working on another one right now. I've heard whispers about it. Again, as soon as that book goes on sale, I will be first in line to buy it. Question number 7 is 1001 activities. What is your favorite outdoor activity? Does reading outside count? Okay, if I can't use reading outside as an outdoor activity, then I guess I'll have to do swimming. I love swimming. I'm very lucky that when I was young, our family's first home did have a pool. It was an above ground pool, but from I was born till about age 6 or 7, we had a pool, so I learned how to swim at a very young age. Unfortunately, we moved from that house, and the other house I lived in from age 7 till whenever didn't have a pool, but we always had local lakes. My grandparents had a huge indoor pool. We would go there every summer. I love swimming. I love swimming. I can hang out in a pool all day. Put me on a raft, give me a little drink with a little umbrella, put a book in my lap. I am good to go. So question number 8 is called 1001 Book Clubs, and it's a question about book clubs, which I don't really belong to any, so I'm going to skip that one because it's my channel and I can do what I want. So that brings me to the end of 1001 bookish tags. The only thing I have left is 1001 friends. So I'm not going to tag anyone. I'm just going to leave this open because all of you are my friends, and if anyone wants to do this video, I think it's a series of fun questions, so go ahead and do the tag. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not already, please subscribe to my channel. I do new videos every Wednesday, Friday, and sometimes on Sunday. All right, everyone, happy reading.